I
Test,
am
test,
also
test.
recording.
I am also recording.
Ba, ba, ba. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 652nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. I have no news to report this week. I'm tired.
Lucky for you, we have news to report.
Yes. We have news to report. I don't.
Bobby also here.
I just got an extra tasty meal in Pokemon Sleep, which is cool, especially because it's like extra tasty. I don't know. It's worth 231,000 points, so that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have no Pokemon Sleep news this week. Does anyone have any Pokemon Sleep thoughts before we move on to the three topics we have?
I don't know, do we?
After 19 grubbins, I got a decent grubbin, so...
Yeah.
Nice.
Good. I think I'm done with sleep.
I was waiting for that.
I thought I was going to open it for the Sneasel boost, and I didn't, and I think I'm done.
Delete Hannah off your friends list. That's less candy for the week.
Yeah, fair. Yep.
Wow.
Yep, sorry. I'll probably open it occasionally, every month or two.
Interesting. Yeah, I am not going with as much of an extreme, but I did come off of this week was the week I came off of premium, so now I am in non-premium land, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like it. I'm not. I don't like not having the premium shop. I don't like getting a biscuit that gets you the 3 bars instead of 4 each morning. I had my first time where, like, a 5-bar Pokemon, I did like the biscuit and a Poke biscuit, and then it like got full, and I was not happy about that. I just moved on with my day. It was fine, but like I was not happy in that moment. It's okay.
Speaking of not happy, we're going to start off with Pokemon Go.
Wow.
I
mean,
we got Pokemon Go. We have the year of Eevee. We will talk about that. And then there's some TCG stuff, not Pocket related. There's actually not a lot going on in Pocket from the last time we talked, but who knows? By the time this podcast comes up, maybe they'll announce. I think the thing they'll for sure announce for Pocket is part 2 of the Wonder Pick event, since we're still part 1.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the store will eventually appear. So,
yeah,
I no trading as of yet. When we learn about trading, we will, I'm sure, talk about it for 45 minutes. But that's not here this episode. So let's start off with our Pokemon Go stuff, which I guess let's start with the announcement of Black Kyurem, White Kyurem for the Unova Tour. Before we dive into Unova Tour, it is taking place in Pasadena. As of this recording, the Rose Bowl has not burned down, but I do want to take a second and say that I have been obsessed with watching the coverage of California, and I feel so bad for everyone out there. So I have checked in with listeners. I know there's, I think, 2 or 3 out there, and they are safe. I hope as many people are as safe as possible. I don't know if there's anyone else I didn't hear from in our Slack or Discord or throughout our community, but if anyone in our community needs anything, please reach out to me. I can offer what I can. So I just sucks. It's real hard to watch from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough one. Southern California, especially prone to these wildfires from time to time. We've had them throughout I mean, going back to like 2003 is when I really remember like wildfire season being a thing, starting to be a thing. But this just is huge compared to ones. I mean, we've had big fires in the past, and obviously any home lost or any person affected by this is one too many. But like this is huge compared to ones that we've seen in the past. So it's real tough to watch.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I've had a couple people reach out to me just because it's like, is San Diego in comparison to LA? You know, like do you live? Like I am, my family and I are absolutely nowhere near these fires. We are in San Diego. That is like 90 miles away from Los Angeles. But I do know that there are plenty of people that I know and that we all know near it or affected in some way. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yep. There are a lot of people whose lives have been completely changed by this, and it's absolutely horrible, and I hope everyone is as safe as possible. Tips that I have heard that I think are important are, I think that it sounds very helpful to have a separate email for everything related to the fires, and I think that's an important thing to pass on so that you can keep an eye on all of the emergency stuff related to that. As well as I'm somewhere that has been increasingly affected by fires over the years, and so seeing this and knowing that the fires are getting worse means that keeping an emergency bag up to date feels like an important thing for people who have seen fires somewhat nearby them as this continues to happen.
Yeah. And one other thing I'll say, and it's been kind of echoed online quite a bit, but there is an app called the Watch Duty app. And it is a nonprofit corporation that has this app out there, and it's free. You can download it on iOS or Android, but it will keep you up to date, and it's very accurate as to where the fires are, movement of the fires, containment of the fires, things like that. So if you're around the area and you watch the Watch Duty app is one you should definitely download. If you're also just interested in watching these but not having to see it from like the news perspective or having to see images of the fires, things like that, but do want to follow along, then I would download the Watch Duty app, because all it is showing you is like, here is a fire, here's where the fire is, here's the area of like evacuation zone, things like that. So definitely a helpful app.
Niantic did issue a statement regarding the Unova Tour. They said here I have the exact statement. They said, our team has carefully observing the situation in Los Angeles with the well-being of Pasadena, greater Los Angeles area, and of course our Niantic community in mind. We are currently continuing our preparations. Any updates regarding the event will be shared as they are available. So just for those that maybe not know, there's a couple factors here. There's whether Niantic and or the Pokemon Company want to cancel this event, which we're a little over a month out from now, 6 weeks. But there is also a possibility where the Rose Bowl just doesn't let them cancel per contract. And so it's not like Niantic can be like, hey, I know this is in like 6 weeks, but see you later, because the Rose Bowl might just be like, every event is going to go forward because we want your money. I hope things are resolved within the next week. I did wake up to some good news of 3 of the 6 fires are completely contained with the stuff they put around it. So that was good, because a couple days ago, none of those were contained. So we'll see. I don't want to jump on this podcast and say like Niantic's a bad guy. They're a bad guy for plenty of reasons. I don't want to say they're a bad guy because they don't know how this event is going to be in 5 weeks. But there are contracts with these kind of things.
I mean, to be fair, there are multiple there are 2 basketball teams in Los Angeles, right? There's the Clippers and the Lakers. They're both continuing games starting Monday. Like, they postponed the last couple of games at both of their arenas. They postponed today. I believe it was either last night or today. They're supposed to both play, but they're not playing. But they're supposed to be going back to their normal schedule starting next week. We'll see.
Wasn't there a
Obviously,
football
this
game
is-
that they moved last minute?
Yeah, the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, they moved, or no, sorry, not the Chargers, the LA Rams. They moved to Arizona
For that game.
for that game, for
Yeah.
that for that specific game. Yeah.
How did that work for people who bought? I guess they probably just got refunded.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I guess they could probably, if they wanted to, because it was a playoff game, so a little bit more like people are a little bit more wanting to attend those. So they may have traveled out to Arizona, or just maybe gotten refunded. I'm not sure how that works actually, but yeah, that game was moved. But anyways, these basketball games are trying to go back to regular schedule starting next week. So I mean, if Niantic continues an event in 5 weeks from now, it's obviously an evolving situation, so things could change. Yeah, it'll be interesting because even if the stadium is, which most likely the stadium would still be standing, that's a little bit different situation there, but still the area around it, I don't know how that will be for people coming in for the event and then
Yeah.
exploring the area around that, depending on how much is burnt and things like that. Honestly, I don't know exactly what is been burnt and then where that is in relation to where people would be traveling and hanging out outside of the stadium once they're not doing the tour. So, but yeah, it's still a ways out, and well, good news is the fires are getting more contained than they were
Yes.
last week. So that is good, at least.
Okay, so we have no surprise to anyone. Black Kyurem and White Kyurem will make their Pokemon Go debut in 5-star raids for Unova Tour.
Keep saying debut, as if they haven't been in the game for 5 minutes before.
Official debut.
You'll be able to fuse Kyurem with Zekrom, or fuse Reshiram with Kyurem for White Kyurem. This is pretty much the same as Lunala and Solgaleo, so same mechanic there. For those that, again, might not know, maybe they skipped Gen 5, maybe they didn't fuse Necrozma. So Kyurem is the main fuse. So if your Kyurem is shiny, your Black Kyurem, White Kyurem will be shiny. So if you have a non-shiny Kyurem and a shiny Reshiram, it will be non-shiny when it fused. So only the Kyurem needs to be shiny.
And you're sure about that's how that's going to work? Because we never had that test with Lunala or Solgaleo because they're not shiny. So
That's
the
how it
only
works in the main
fusion-
series games.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah. So in order to get shiny Duskmane Necrozma, the Necrozma had to always be shiny.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So that does come from the main series games. Black Kyurem and White Kyurem cannot be traded, transferred to the professor, or transferred to Pokemon Home. I'm pretty sure you still can you transfer? You cannot transfer. This is not any different. You can't transfer Duskmane Necrozma to Pokemon Home. You'd have to unfuse it.
Yeah, you can't.
And-
Same with any fused Pokemon, right? Doesn't Calyrex have to be removed from Glastrier or Spectrier to get them into Home as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is not in Go. Main series there. But yeah, same idea.
Fusing left and right. There are new attacks, just like Solgaleo and Lunala had new attacks when they fused with Necrozma. There is nothing here about adventure. What are they called? Adventure bonuses?
Adventure effects.
Yes, nothing here about adventure effects. I think we're all on the same page that these will definitely have adventure effects.
Mm-hmm.
We just they're holding out on us.
They gotta
Be a
wait to give us
surprise.
something.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, if this event is canceled, there's another one happening in, what is it, Taipei?
Yeah, it's a little further
little far?
than
A little far?
than like the LA to Arizona situation that we were just talking about with the football game.
There will
And
definitely
there's also
be...
the global event.
Yes. Yeah, we don't have full details for that yet either. Speaking of legendary Pokemon, to shift gears real quick, gosh, there's actually a lot of Pokemon Go news. I didn't realize there was so much this week. Dynamax, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are arriving in the legendary flight event. Okay, I'm just gonna... We all... Oh, and look... That's right. Like, all right, you do these 3 birds. We got the other 2 birds waiting in the... These will make their debut on Max Mondays from January 20th to February 3rd. They will appear at all power spots. After they make their debut, Dynamax, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres will appear in power spots for 1 week at a time listed below. So from 6 to 7, there's your Max Mondays. January 20th will be Articuno, January 27th will be Zapdos, and then February 3rd will be Moltres. And then from each week to each other, so once it debuts on Max Monday, that whole week, it will be in raids. So Articuno for a week, that first one, Zapdos the second, Moltres the third. These are going to be in 5-star. I'm making sure I'm saying that right because it's very confusing. Yeah, 5-star max raid battles. So these are our very first 5-star max raid battles. Gigantamax Pokemon are 7-star. Sorry. So we and then the Toxtricity stuff was 4-star. Cryogonal Phalanx, Beldum were 3-star. For it being 5-star, correct me if I'm wrong, does that mean 20 people or does that mean 4 people?
Wait, what?
How many people will it take to do it in reality? Not Niantic's suggestion.
For Toxtricity, 4-star Toxtricity, you could only get 4 people in a raid, and then it filled.
Oh, got it. Probably 4.
I hope.
Yes? Was that ever
I don't know.
stated?
It's because it's Dynamax and not Gigantamax.
It's Dynamax, yeah.
Yeah. So all the Dynamax have been up to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Gigantamax has been up to 40.
Yes.
Yes. Except that one that I did, that was 650
600,
people.
yeah.
That one was tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume it would be up to 4.
They could introduce some number between 4 and 40.
Yeah, is that question answered?
Good. I haven't seen it.
I don't know, but
If
I will
4
say
people are allowed, it might take 4 people to do. Just thinking
right.
about.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. But so one thing to note real quick here is that the week that they are out after, so like on that Max Monday, they are going to be at every power spot. But in the week that they're out after that Max Monday, they won't be at every power spot, right? So like it does say they'll be at some of them. So just plan accordingly. If you're if you're planning to go do them throughout the week, just know like they might not be. I'm sure they'll be like somewhat easy to find still, but they won't be as easy as like on that Max Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they should be. I think we have enough decent counters. Like Articuno gets pretty much stopped by like Charizard or Scorbunny. Moltres gets stopped by like Lapras or Squirtle. Zapdos is probably the only one that doesn't have like a hard counter.
Toxtricity? I mean, it's still electric
It's
flying.
still
They're all still
flying.
flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neutral.
So the Gmax Toxtricity at least would.
Does electric resist electric? No, Zapdos is still weak to electric.
Yeah, it's still weak to electric.
Yes. So yeah, Toxtricity. Because None of the current Pokemon learn. I guess Krabby's also in the game for the Moltres. Shout out to
Krabby
Krabby.
against the Moltres.
Hey, Krabby does have a higher base attack than Tinkaton. So yeah, shout out to Krabby.
Hey, Sobble. You see those Sobbles come into the game?
I cannot
Moltres?
wait to see the Sobbles come. I don't think there's a single Pokemon that learned like rock moves, but there still are super effective counters. Yeah, I don't know how hard these are going to be, but I this is something I was saying weeks ago. I feel maybe an eternity ago, where people were complaining that these were too hard, and then trying to like remind people that Tyranitar was too hard when it came out. And then once people started getting Tyranitar, they used Tyranitar. So now, like, I'm curious of how good Zapdos will be compared to your Toxtricity. Obviously, Toxtricity also has Poison to go with it, but like it just seems like on paper you'll never use your Toxtricity, your Dynamax Toxtricity, because Dynamax Zapdos will just be better. And maybe you'll use your Gigantamax Toxtricity, but...
See, I don't like this whole thing. And I don't like this whole thing for a couple of reasons. One is, and this is more of a me thing, but I don't like how out of order this feels. Like... like in the past, it's like legendaries are always like the end, kind of the end point, right? It's like we had raids and then we had legendary raids, right? And we had this, and then, and in this, it was like we had Dynamax and then we had these Gigantamax raids. Now we're coming back into this middle ground where it's like legendaries, but they're Dynamax, right? So it's like
but
the
they don't
Gigantamax are still the bigger game here.
We do
but
have Gigantamax legendaries, Bobby. Don't
Yes.
you
I
worry.
know,
They're
but
coming.
I know we do, and I know they're coming, but it makes these Dynamax legendaries just not feel as exciting to me, and maybe part of it is that they're the three birds who we've had 47 times in the game in 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it just I see this and it's like, yeah, okay, like that's cool. There, we have Dynamax legendaries, and I know that, again, like you were just saying, they're stronger, so we'll be able to then use them in place of maybe other Pokemon we've been using against Gigantamax Pokemon down the road. But it's just not exciting to me, and it's like I almost feel like they had done regular Dynamax, some legendary Dynamax, and then introduced Gigantamax in its own thing after that, rather than like go one to the next and then back to this and then flipping and around.
Maybe, but then you would potentially be doing all of the legendaries in Dynamax, and then you would go back to have Gigantamax non-legendary Pokemon. And that would also feel kind of weird.
But they're like different forms and stuff, and I feel like that still even is more exciting to people than like a legendary that's just a giant version of a legendary, which is what Dynamax is. But that also is what raids look like, because they're also just big versions of
once Dynamax Mewtwo comes out, people are gonna lose their minds.
Mewtwo is an exception to everything. In
Yeah,
the
like
Pokemon world.
like I think a lot of people agree with you, Bobby. I don't think Articuno, Zapdos, or Moltres are that exciting. Like I think I don't think that's a hot take. I just
No, I think it's a very cool take, actually.
I think it's a very universal take.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little confused of if these are 5-star, and something like a Gigantamax Kingler, which will eventually come, will be a 7-star. What is a 6-star?
A mythical Dynamax Pokemon, maybe?
Like is
Maybe?
Mewtwo a 6-star?
Oh, maybe they do like Mewtwo or like Rayquaza, Mewtwo and Rayquaza, or maybe they have certain legendaries that they just set to 6-star instead of 5.
It's also possible there just won't be 6-star.
Yeah.
Don't do that to us, Niantic.
But then,
Don't
like,
do that to us.
Okay, so like
Not okay.
Gigantamax, Lapras, Toxtricity, Charizard, those are all 7-star, like the hardest content Niantic wants to offer us. That's fine. When Urshifu comes, which is a legendary Gigantamax. That's also just going to be 7-star. Like, I almost feel like that should be like an 8-star because it's a legendary, not a Kingler.
They didn't max out. They didn't say that 7 stars were the maximum, right?
yeah. I guess. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. In my head, all Gigantamaxes being about the same 7-star feels right, but
I don't know. I feel like you get to like Eternatus, and then it's like, what's
That's
that going to
fair.
be? I feel like that should be even higher.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Bobby, with like how everything seems out of order. I don't disagree, but at the same time, like we had like 6 weeks of just Grookies or Charmanders or Beldums, and like I don't want to say like no one did them. Obviously, when people went out and did them, but it did feel like there was this general consensus of like, why would I do these? Mm-hmm. And it was me trying to be like, well, you would do these to then prepare for these harder ones, and then you're gonna do the Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres. Now you have those, and now you can use those for ones, and then ideally the curve of the difficulty drops just like it did with Tyranitar. Like, gosh, I remember where it was like, oh no, we only have 8 people for Tyranitar. We're never going to be able to do it. And nowadays, if Tyranitar came back, you'd be like, first thing on the Sylph Road, you'll be like, this is how you solo Tyranitar.
Yeah. But to your point, you're making my point here in that if we had gotten the Dynamax legendaries before Gigantamax, it may have made those like Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise ones that everyone hated a little easier to do. So like
Yeah,
if we had actually gotten them in
it would
order,
have.
then it would have actually potentially made a better.
Yeah, but you need people to do the even weaker ones to be able to complete the legendary birds, and people just don't want to do the weaker ones because they already have those Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's tricky to introduce a mechanic this way when everybody already has the Pokemon that you need to catch in order to get the newer ones.
But we did. It's exactly what happened with the Gigantamax ones. Like we didn't have stronger Pokemon,
Yeah.
and then Gigantamax ones were released, and then everybody got mad about how hard they were.
Yes.
But if they had released the legendary ones first, the same thing would have happened, except they would have been a little bit easier to beat, and then people may have been able to beat those and then move on to the Gigantamax ones next. Like the same
True.
thing happened already.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, switch it. They should have switched it so that the legendaries came first to ramp it up a little bit easier than what did end up happening already.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think like I'm still I'm so confused in what people expected. I'm not confused. Like people, I understand that people expected the raids to be what they have been used to for 8 years, right? Or 7 years. Sorry, there wasn't raids the first year of the game, but like it was very easy to do a Charmander and be like, okay, I got this Charmander. Sucks I can't use my 300 other Charmanders I've had for 8 years. I have to catch a new one. That was never upsetting to me. As somebody who's been playing Pokemon for 28 years, I have caught a Weepinbell every year for like 28 years. I caught it in Red and Blue, and then Pokemon Yellow, and then Gold and Silver. Like, I just had to catch another Weepinbell recently.
Why?
To get it in, to get my Meloetta in Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, okay.
Because I had it already completed for the Shiny Charm, but I evolved it to a Victory Bell, and then Scarlet and Violet was like, well, you don't have a Weepinbell anymore. You need to go get a Weepinbell. And I was like, I gotta catch another Weepinbell in Scarlet and Violet. Crazy. So, like, that is not unique to Niantic. That is just Pokemon at its core, to be like, you need to keep catching Pokemon that you've caught a million times before.
Except
right?
for Dynamax Pokemon. Except for that. In the main series, you don't need to catch another Charmander or another.
That's part of it. And
like,
also, this
Pokemon
is all the same game.
to
This is all in
Dynamax it.
Pokemon Go, and you already have these Pokemon in Pokemon Go. And then they're asking you to catch these Pokemon again in the same game.
Like that's
It's
the only example of one where you didn't need to actually catch the Pokemon
Yeah, but when
again.
you play Scarlet and Violet, you gotta catch the Oddish again. You gotta catch the Pancham again. You gotta catch the Onyx again. Like, you couldn't just transfer your Onyx from Fire Red, Leaf Green into the game and be like, all right, don't have to catch that Onyx in the wild area. Like,
Wait, what's going on? You say Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield?
oh, sorry, Sword and Shield.
got it.
Super confused right there.
Well, you could say the same thing for Scarlet and Violet, right? Like, when you go to Scarlet and Violet, you gotta catch the Talonflame again.
Yes,
you gotta
but
catch.
that's a different game.
But it's
Yeah, but like, these are different mechanics. Like, you don't think when terrestrialization is going to come to this game, they're going to be like, you need to catch an Oddish that can terrestrialize. Like,
Well, I
you're
do
going to
now.
have to. Like,
Yeah.
when Z moves come to the game, you're going to have to catch this that has to like.
Oh gosh, I would hope that's just not the way they do that mechanic with Z moves. By the way, real quick,
I think
Or
it is.
terrestrialization, but
I
they
like.
probably
I-
will.
I
The
would
whole
rather
game is catching Pokemon.
I know, but they need to move
Is
away
it
from
because
it
they're not
just
even releasing
being,
Pokemon in the wild anymore? So
They just
game's
need
not
to move
catching
away
Pokemon.
from it just being that, because there are so many ways that they could just have things, other ways of gaining items that you can attach to Pokemon or you can somehow put towards them. Like, I mean, how many different currencies do we have, or different, not currencies, but like different energies, candies, things to like power up Pokemon in certain ways, things like that. There should be another way to do that. Like, I get what you're saying. We catch Pokemon and Pokemon all the time. That's the whole idea. Got to catch them all, right? But
How dare you bring up that tagline?
I'm gonna bring it up. Bring it up again. Got to catch them all. But it's, for one, it is definitely different to say like we have to catch these Pokemon again versus we have to go like raid battle these Pokemon to get them again. Like, the mechanic is it's just a different mechanic in that way. Like,
It's a
I
brand new
just feel
mechanic.
like they're what?
It's a brand like
It is, and
it's
this is-
almost crazy that people are
is the
complaining that
base
they
of a
introduced
totally
a
new
brand
mechanic.
Yeah, they introduced a brand new mechanic.
I
this is
just
the base
feel
of
like
a totally new mechanic and a totally new game loop. It's just not different enough for people to care because it's all the same Pokemon.
I just don't want to do 1,025 Dynamax raids at the end of the day. Like,
I don't want to do 1,000 Team Rocket Shadow raids, so I just don't do them, and I'm fine with that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want to.
It's already
I-
in the game though. Like, you can complain about Dynamax, and people do, but like, Team Rocket has existed for 6 years. It's the
Right.
same thing.
That's
it's just
the
you're
problem.
battling an NPC.
You're making my point again. Like, that's the problem. Is it's the same thing over and over and over again. Give us a different mechanic that isn't just go raid a Pokemon to get the Pokemon. Give us something that gets us the Dynamax on Pokemon that isn't just go pick up a Dynamax Pokemon. Like, do something different than that.
I
rather
don't
than
like the core loop is go outside and catch things. If they changed it where like, what do you want them to do? Like,
But they're
go
moving away
outside
from
and
go
collect
outside
this-
and catch things. Right now, it's drive your car to a power stop and call up some other people that show up too, and hopefully you do the raid together. There's not a go outside and catch things to this at all. It's literally go to the power spot where you know where it is. You can see it from my house.
Yeah,
and-
you walk to it and you do it.
or campfires there, so I drive to it because there's not one that's walkable, so I'm driving to it. I'm just saying, like, it's actually taking away from like the go take a walk and actually catch Pokemon, because you're like, your mission is to go to that spot and get that Pokemon at that spot rather
we
than
arguing
like,
about
go
right
outside
now?
and explore. I'm just saying there should be a
We're
different
kind of
mechanic
mixing
here.
arguments.
There should be a different mechanic here for how Dynamax Pokemon work. Because they've done that mechanic, because the idea of going and doing a raid is, you're right, it's already there. It's regular raids. It's now shadow raids that you have to go to. It's been done. Do something different.
Yeah, they did mix kind of raids with all of the Team Rocket stuff that nobody liked to turn it into Gigantamax and Dynamax that also nobody wants to do. If they had made it so maybe you did the Dynamax raids to get energy to then be able to Dynamax Pokemon that you already had, I think people might have enjoyed it more. But you can't Dynamax Pokemon you already have. And that's the mechanic we have now.
I don't know. I think it's good in a limited sense. I just don't like it's kind of annoying to just like, oh, now this week it's like Dynamax Cragonal, and next week it's Dynamax, Grubbin. I don't know, whatever. Like it just like I wish the raid part was like maybe stuck to like Gigantamax.
Wait, is Grubbin coming? There,
But
you lied.
no,
Okay.
Sorry, there's no Grubbin.
I was like,
There's
wait,
no
hold
Grubbin.
on. They announced Grubbin? I'm back in.
Sorry, I was just thinking of a random Pokemon.
I was like, whoa, slow down. This is breaking news.
No Grubbin, no Dynamax Grubbin coming. I'm sorry. And I'm sitting here. I don't hate it. I just as I think about the amount of times where we're going away from, and we were just talking about this, right, Hannah? You just mentioned it. We're going away from going outside and catching Pokemon. When new Pokemon come out, it's raids, it's eggs, we're moving away from that, and we're also moving away, and that's also happening with this as well. So it's
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. How is moving away from going outside and catching Pokemon raids or eggs' fault? You need to walk to hatch an egg. You need to walk to a raid. That neither of those tasks are stopping you from catching Pokemon along the way.
You don't need to walk to a raid. You can drive to a raid, and most people do, because you have to meet up with people, and the places where people are more likely to be able to meet up with people to do the bigger raids are going to be places that are farther away from many people, unless you live in a city. However, eggs are a little bit different. It's just tricky because you also can pay for the incubators, and that's where it all gets... Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's an excitement to like going outside and like randomly coming across a wild Pokemon.
And we haven't had that since the beginning of last year.
We literally had Fido last week. What are you both talking about?
We had Fido.
Okay,
I just said we had Fido, so we had one.
Yes.
Go back and look at how many Pokemon have come out in the last year and tell me how many were actually available in the wild. Like, that is a core mechanic of the game. Going out and catching Pokemon, walking around and catching Pokemon.
We literally had Dreepy like 2 months ago. And there was another Pokemon with Dreepy. I can't even remember.
Steve, Pokemon.
Okay, but you can't sit here and say like we haven't had any new Pokemon in the wild when last week we had a new Pokemon in the wild. and to give some pushback, you're like, this Pokemon will make me go out and catch it. It didn't for me. I caught 6 Fido in my house, and then I evolved it, and I never went anywhere. That was it. I didn't go anywhere to get Fido. I opened up my game twice a day when I woke up and before I went, oh, Fido right here, caught it.
That's
like it's not making
I'm not saying everyone is happy by it, but
for every situation of like you can go out and do stuff, I feel like people want Niantic to almost like tell them how to play. Like if you want to go out and just play the game, play the game. I did not want to go out last week, so to be fair, I think the Fido event last week was great. I think who doesn't want 4 times catch Stardust on every Pokemon? It was an amazing event. Boosted shiny odds for Voltorb and Electrike, brand new Pokemon. I ultimately skipped that event because one, I didn't feel good, but 2, it's freezing out. There's like snow. It's snowing right now. But I caught all those Fidos from my house. I didn't have to go explore, which is what you guys are arguing. You're like, I want new Pokemon to go explore. I didn't have to do that. Like, and when they introduced Dreepy, which was what, like 3 months ago, 4 months ago? I don't remember exactly when Dreepy came to the game. I've caught 2 since then, and I could have explored for more, but my thought process was there'll be a community day for it eventually. I'll just wait for that.
Well, you could take anything down to that.
You can, but it just depends on like. I don't know what Pokemon Go player. This is not like a dig at you two. This is just a general statement. I don't know. I think Pokemon Go players just hate this game. I sincerely do, and I sincerely think they should play a different game. Like there's a time where you hate a game so much that your whole personality around the game is just to complain. And we do complain, right? Like I think Niantic does make poor decisions. Right. But when it comes to like thinking about like Dynamax, I think there are poor decisions around Dynamax, but I think Dynamax is really cool at its core. and it introduced new POIs, it introduced a new gameplay loop, it introduced something else to do, and at the same time, if you're not interested in it, you can completely ignore it. Just like with when they introduced Team Rocket, if you didn't like to sit there and battle Team Rocket grunts, you can ignore it and you can still enjoy the rest of the game. And that's ultimately what I did, is I just ignore Team Rocket. There's some people out there that like they love Team Rocket, they're trying to get their Shadow Shinies. That's very cool. I'm glad that sparks some joy. For me, it doesn't, and I ignore it. Same for GBL. But like, we have people that are like, I don't like the local raid. I don't like the Dynamax. I don't like the GBL. I don't like Team Rocket. I don't like hatching eggs. Play a different game. What do you like? Like, honestly, what do you like? I can tell you what I like in Pokemon Go. I like using Pokemon Go when I go to a new city to be like, okay, where I have never been here. Let me look at the gyms and the stops, because I can tell that this is where events are. I like trading people in Pokemon Go. I spent 500 Stardust to give somebody a shiny Skidoo. Please, if you find me, if you see me, take my Skidoos. I don't want them. And they were so happy to get a Skidoo. And if you've ever watched my like live streams of me in a different country, I will just trade people anything. I just don't care about the start. They're so happy to get something that makes me happy. And I like raiding. I like going out and I like raiding. I can think of like 3 things I really like about Pokemon Go. None of those involve catching Pokemon or like new Pokemon being added to the game. And I challenge people listening, can you name 3 things that you like about this game? Because I'm hard pressed to think that people can't. And at that point, play a different game. Like this game is not what you want, and that's fine. But I felt this way with like Clash Royale, with Destiny, with Final Fantasy 14. At a certain point, it wasn't the game I wanted it to be, and I found other games that I liked instead.
Well, yeah. And I think, for one, just to back up a second, like, if there's only one thing you like about the game, but you're enjoying that one thing, then keep playing the game. Like, if you like going out and taking a walk and catching Pokemon, and that's all you do, but you enjoy doing that, that's your enjoyment, have at it. But, like, I get your point. If you are finding things, if you're opening the app and every time you close it, you're more disappointed than not, right? Maybe pick up something else that makes that not happen, right? When you pick up your phone, there are so many things that go on in our lives where disappointment is forced upon us. If you pick up your phone to do something fun and you're disappointed when you put it down, find something that is more fun, because there are too many other things that are disappointing and sad. But to your point, I think my complaint here isn't, because I obviously love Pokemon Go as well. I do love many aspects of Pokemon Go. I love aspects that people would be like, why would you ever do that in Pokemon Go? Like taking pictures of Pokemon, right?
That's true. That's true. You do, there's not a lot of people that like do the picture thing.
Definitely not.
Which is another feature of the game.
Yeah. But I think what it is it's not so much that I dislike the way something is done. It's that when they introduce this new feature, it's like, I wish I liked it more. And I'm not even saying that's Niantic's fault, because this game, not every feature of this game is for everybody. Right. And that's actually one of the things I like about the game, is that there are so many different ways to play it. But there are some times where it's like, man, I wish I enjoyed that more. Like, I wish I enjoyed what that, like, the reward that led to. I wish I enjoyed the way of getting there more than other things. And so when things like Fido comes out and you can do field research to get it, or you can catch it in the wild, or like Dreepy, you can get it in eggs, or you can catch it in the wild, and there are just multiple avenues to getting to that point. I just think I like that more, because it's like, if I like to walk around and hatch eggs, then there's one thing I can do to get that Pokemon. But if I don't want to hatch eggs and I just want to walk around,
it lets people play the way they want to play.
Yeah, it just allows people to do that. And this doesn't so much go back to Dynamax as much in that way, but it's just like, I enjoy when Niantic does things where there are multiple routes to get to that reward. And they did that really well with the Fido event. I think all of us can agree that the Fido event went over quite well.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
it was
bonuses
good.
were great, and the spawns were cool, and the shiny boost was great. And so it's more that. It's more like, I do wish that some of these things I just enjoyed more. and I'm not, again, I still open the game every day and I play the way I want to play it. I don't close it like, oh, these shadow raids make me mad and I'm not going to, whatever. It is what it is. But from time to time, as I look back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of wish that I enjoyed, that aspect more than I do. And again, I'm not even really saying that's Niantic's fault there. It's just I don't know. That's just life, I guess. Sometimes you're just like you're bummed on missing out on something because it's like, well, I just don't enjoy it as much. But like, seems like it's great for people who are. I don't know. It's maybe I'm not as mad at the game as I initially seemed. But it does go back to like, it would be kind of cool if there were maybe multiple avenues to getting to this goal. And again, Dynamax is really young in its like lifespan of this game, right? It just came out in the middle of last year, right? So it's then, right? Was it the middle of last year?
I guess
September.
So. Yeah, August,
September. So yeah, so it's only, a few months old. So it's like there's so much more that could happen with it down the road, and that's fine. But yeah, I just, again, I kind of hope that they do end up with something that doesn't just lead to 1,025 different Pokemon having raids. Because even in the raids we do currently have, not every Pokemon is in raids. Maybe at some point they do end up in raids, but they're still able to be caught in the wild. There's a different avenue to getting those Pokemon in some way. And again, Dynamax is young in this game, and so maybe down the road there will be a different way. But yeah, I don't know.
For now, they're trying to keep it a completely separate gameplay loop, and I think it's just some of the new stuff isn't as exciting to people, as well as there are legitimate things to complain about, like the tickets and things costing more money and all of that. And all of that combined doesn't feel great to a lot of people.
I'm not saying like shut up and play the game and don't complain. I'm not saying that. The things that you can complain about, or that we complain about, I think are like valid, right? Like, this seems very money grabby, or this seems very predatory. I think totally valid to complain. I'm saying like, it feels like people are complaining about what has always existed there, which is like, I think people are falling out of love with this game, or they have changed, or that this game is not for them anymore. And it just, I'm asking people to like really ask yourself, what do you like about this game? Because that stuff still exists. If you just like going for a walk, like Bobby said, and catching Pokemon, Niantic has never taken that away from you. You can still go outside and catch as many Pokemon as you want without paying $1. Maybe unless you run out of Pokeballs.
And if you liked doing research and now half the research costs $5,
what? You can do as much field task, whatever.
The research stories.
What research stories?
The stories went away like 4 years ago.
But the longer research.
Right.
Not field research.
Right.
Did
they used to be free?
Most of it did. And then tickets got introduced.
Remember
tickets have not always been a thing.
When special research didn't cost money.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot of those tickets. They're just not.
That's because you don't like doing the special research as much.
But I don't think they're worth the money.
Really?
Like, I went out and did I like value wise. I went out and did Mega Gallade yesterday.
Oh.
Where it was like, what, 8? You get 8 for free. You could spend $5. You got an extra 10 passes or something like that. You got double Stardust, double XP, greater chance of candy. Had a great time. Didn't spend $5.
Yes, but the way that you are proud of your what's it even called? The medal that you
collection challenge?
Yeah, the collection challenge medal. I was very proud of my special research list for a very long time, for years, because I had every single special research available. I had completed it. I had checked off all the tasks. That was fun to me. And now it all costs money.
And you can't coin it. You can't like gather coins for it. It costs money out of game, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Some things have changed. You are
please
here
gift
saying that if
Hannah
you like
please gift Hannah the special research. Thank you.
You are here saying that if the things you liked existed in the game at some point, they're still there, and I think that that's something that legitimately has changed.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, but I okay. To be fair, I'm not bragging about my collection challenge research medal.
You have so many.
You have. Yeah.
Wild. You have to have like some of the most. Like seriously.
It spark joy sometimes.
It did until you missed one.
I've missed like 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because you missed one.
No,
and
it's
you
fine.
Just
It's
let it
fine.
all go after that.
I do remember a point where I did care about my whatever field research.
Special research.
Special research, yeah. Me too.
I did care about that. And then at a certain point I was like, whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, I remember the moment I stopped caring about it, and it was when I couldn't complete the Drifloon one. There was like a Drifloon incense day. And for whatever reason, I couldn't get outside to get like the last 2 things I needed to finish it. And I was super bummed. And after that day, I was like, I don't care about these special research, like the completing them anymore.
I don't remember that one.
I think it was an incense day. But Drifloon was like the featured Pokemon. And I was bummed that I didn't finish that one.
All right. We'll take a quick break. I think we have 1 or 2 more Pokemon Go things to talk about, but we will be right back. This podcast is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2025, then why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for wireless? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save money this year, as it's the first company to sell premium wireless service online only. Mint Mobile lets you maximize your savings with plans at $15 a month with a purchase of a 3-month plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. If you're playing Pokemon Go, if you're playing Pikmin Bloom, maybe Monster Hunter now, it will work on your Mint Mobile. And really, that's all you need your phone for. Well, maybe you need to use your phone as a phone. Well, you're in luck because you can use your own phone number with any Mint Mobile plan and bring that phone number over along with your contacts. So ditch your overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month and save some money in 2025. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/PKMNcast. That is mintmobile.com/PKMNcast to cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/PKMNcast. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And we are back from our break. All right, we have 2 more Pokemon Go things to get through. Rookidee and Go Fest. I couldn't think of the name of that event. Hannah, one of your favorite Pokemon is making their Pokemon Go debut. Corviknight.
Yes. Rookidee, specifically. In eggs. Yeah. It's on the loading screen, and when this season's loading screen showed up, I got so excited. And I guess now I'm gonna go out and walk to hatch eggs. Which works, I guess.
Am I wrong? I thought magnetic lures also. I don't know where I read that.
That would have been cool, except Rookidee is just a flying type. So.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Oh, here. There is a magnetic. No, it does. Event bonuses. Magnetic lure will attract different Pokemon during the event, such as Onix, Beldum, Shieldon, and Rookidee.
Whoa, what?
I didn't see that.
I did not see this anywhere.
That wasn't in
it's
the...
actually linked in the show notes.
It does. Wow.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that
It doesn't
completely
make
changes
sense.
my opinion.
It doesn't make sense because Rookidee is pure flying, which is really cool about Rookidee for our listeners that maybe don't know. Almost every single Route 1 bird is normal flying. Rookidee is pure flying. And Corvisquire, I think, is also pure flying. And the only other pure flyings that I can think of off the top of my head are Tornadus. But there might be one more.
There's
But
one
it's
in
very...
Paldea as well. I can't remember who, but there's a Paldean pure flying Pokemon.
You're right, and I can't think of...
Because there
Somebody
are 5.
comment below on the YouTube.
I think there are 5 total. But yeah, Rookidee. It was cool to see Rookidee be pure flying after the only Pokemon at that point in time was Tornadus.
Yep.
And so to finally see another pure flying Pokemon. And Rookidee's cool, so...
Rookidee is not steel, so I understand the magnetic lure because Corviknight is, but like
There's a connection there. It's just a tenuous connection.
Well,
yeah.
Onyx
So
too,
I woke up for our listeners. This is why I wrote down like a bunch of things that I feel like people were complaining about, and then I thought to myself like, what do I actually like in Pokemon Go? And I sincerely mean that. I sincerely think people should think about what they like in Pokemon Go. And I think that will help you decide where you should put your energy in this game. But what sparked this was also waking up to a 60 missed text messages from Bobby and Hannah talking about Rookidee. And I was like, what is happening right now? Why did I have 60 text messages? And they were both bummed that Rookidee was in eggs. And I thought and Bobby was like, well, if Rookidee was in the wild, you would go out and do it. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go out and do Rookidee.
You would go out and do it. I would go out and do it.
You would do it. Yeah, but like part of the reason why I was like, this is not this big of a deal, or I don't really care that much, is like, it might sound like silly to say, but I know like 3 people will agree with me, is like, it can't be shiny. So like, I don't really care. Like the same thing with Fido, or the same thing with Sinistea, or the same thing with Dreepy, is like, it can't be shiny. And I can get mad at Niantic for that, but why? That's what they've been doing for 8 years. It's, here's a Pokemon, it's not shiny. All right, we'll bring it back, and now it's shiny. All right, we'll bring it back, and now there's a community. Like, it's just, like at one point, Absol was only in raids. And then I think eventually they moved Absol to eggs, which for me, I was like, well, I ain't doing that. And then Absol was in the wild recently for a recent event. I don't remember what the event was. It was like 2 weeks ago. Not that was like the first time I saw Absol in the wild, but it made me remember that like this Pokemon was in raids for like 4 years before it was ever in the wild. And when it was originally in raids, it wasn't even shiny. Like that came much later. So like when I see like Fido, or in this case Rookidee, for me it's like I can get mad at Niantic and be like, how dare you? And if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm just like, I don't. In like 6 months they'll turn it shiny, and then I'll be like, oh cool, now I care about this Pokemon.
But it's just when it's a Pokemon you want to catch, especially when wow, words are escaping me today. When Cramorant shows up and it's in 10k or 12k eggs, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I like that's a great point, because I know you like Corvisquire. Or sorry, no one likes Corvisquire. I know you like Corviknight.
I like the whole evolution line.
Let's not get carried away here. Ain't no one liking Corvisquire.
Corvisquire is actually really cool.
It is all right. I know. So I know you love Corviknight. So yeah, when Cramorant comes to the game, I don't care that it won't be shiny, right? Like that's still exciting enough for me. And if they're like, hey, Cramorant's only going to be in like Madagascar, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm booking a flight to Madagascar or something.
It's gonna be GBL, and you're gonna you have to play a lot of GBL all of a sudden.
It's going to be GBL. More Peko fans in shambles. Like yes, but also Hannah, one of your favorite Pokemon's in Pokemon Sleep, and that didn't do it for you.
I think that's a different argument.
Is it?
Yes. I think that's a totally different argument that has more to do about the game that is Pokemon Sleep specifically.
I think I'll just sit back and let you guys hash this one out.
Bobby, quick, what's your 3 favorite Pokemon?
Well, hey, I mean, let's really actually, though. My favorite Pokemon was only available in Asia. In Pokemon Go for the borders. And I traveled to Japan and caught one.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I didn't actually travel for the Farfetch'd with my honeymoon. But along the way, we caught a Farfetch'd.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for you guys, but you guys were definitely upset that this was only in eggs, which leads to the bigger conversation of like, not a lot of Pokemon have been introduced in the wild.
That's the anger. It's not, sorry, Hannah. I don't like, it's not Rookity. Rookity wasn't this like
Rookity.
Oh, Rookity.
Curse you, Rookity.
You know, like, it wasn't Rookity. It was more of another one, right?
Yeah.
Not like DJ Khaled, another one. Not in a good way. It was just, you know, like, another Pokemon that is, and I get it, we just had Fido. I'm not like saying that they're not releasing Pokemon in the wild, but the ratio for releasing in the wild versus releasing any other way is, you know, it's not great. Like, and I know that they can't do what they've done in the past, right? They can't just drop 100 Pokemon, 100 or whatever, 40 new Pokemon. I know. So when I do read these articles or see these posts where people are like, well, they only did this many this year, but they did 100 in year 3. It's like, well, of course they had more Pokemon to give us at that point. They're running out of Pokemon, so they can't do these big drops. But you know, so if they do want to drip feed us those Pokemon, that's fine. But, you know, again, they did Fido so well. Like, it was in research, but it was also in the wild. Mm-hmm. And my thought isn't even that it needs to be.
It was a cute event too.
Yeah, but Dreepy as well. I don't care that Dreepy is as hard to find as it is in the wild, because it's also in eggs. Just the fact that like it's possible that I could go out and walk around and run into a Dreepy is. I like that. I like the idea that I can still go in the wild and find these Pokemon in the wild, because
seeing the shadow on the nearby is still a very exciting thing.
Yeah, or even not seeing, because I know Steve has the silhouette issue with things.
Don't get me. I can go an hour about the silhouettes, boy.
Even just seeing that new Pokemon on the nearby, like, oh, there's a Dreepy down the street, like, that's cool. And no, I'm not like I was 6 years ago where I was bolting out the door to go like catch it because it's down the street. But it definitely does make me think like, oh, you know, like, I was going to take a walk at some point today, like, oh, there's a Dreepy down the street. I'll take that walk now and like go take a walk and catch it, you know, and it just brings me back to like, I can go outside and just catch Pokemon, and the new Pokemon is out, and like I can go outside and like maybe catch that Pokemon too. And so when things get locked behind eggs or raids, it doesn't feel great. And I will say, we were talking about Pokemon, they change it up every once in a while. Alolan Raichu has only been in raids since its debut, and maybe in like field research at one point, or like maybe in like a research breakthrough at one point as well, and has been shiny the entire time. And I'm bitter because I've done like 150 Alolan Raichu raids and never got the shiny one. But
you know, it's funny you bring that up, because I think about the 3 things I named of why I like Pokemon Go. And when I was in Korea, I had one shiny Alolan Raichu. And I don't even remember what the Korean person wanted from me, but they were so excited I had it. I think it was like this shiny Slowpoke with the detective hat.
Ooh.
And I was like, I'll take the Slowpoke. And they really wanted the Raichu. And I was like, I don't care. Like I know there are people that are like, I want one of every shiny, but I had it. And I made them. They were so happy to get the Raichu.
Yeah.
I no
the
longer
joy
have that
of
Raichu.
trading somebody a Pokemon that they really want.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have been happy, Steve. I would have been that happy if you would have held out
I'll
until
start
February.
raiding Raichus again when they come back, and I'll try to get another one. Yeah, like again, I didn't think it was that big of a deal because like it was 2K eggs, which are incredibly easy to hatch if you leave your house.
It
right?
is nice that it's 2K eggs and not, say, 7K, 10K, 12K eggs.
And I've said this before, like, you know, when I'm in Japan or New York or these bigger cities that have good public transportation, you're hatching like 8, 9 2K eggs by default. You're just ripping through them because you're on your feet. When you live in like a city that requires car, which is most of America, you're probably not hatching multiple 2K eggs a day because you're sitting in a car. And so I was like, 2K, that's not that bad at all. But also, like, I don't know. It's not shiny.
Yeah, again,
Yes.
it's just one of those, like, it's
So,
a
like,
Route
I wouldn't
1
even spend,
Pokemon,
like, money on incubators, even if it...
Right.
But, like, when they announced, like, Sinistea, or Poltergeist, what's the order?
Sinistea is the...
Sinistea.
Yeah.
Like, you could the argument is, like, another non-free Pokemon, but I didn't pay any money for it. I just used my free raid passes, and I soloed it because it was the easiest thing to solo in the world, and
yeah, again, that goes
and it wasn't
back to,
shiny,
like,
so I didn't need to do a million of them.
yeah.
So
although
I
there is
don't
the
know.
authentic
I
one.
just I
One in
get
100
it.
or whatever.
I get the like not being in the wild, but I don't fully agree with like everything is behind a paywall.
Yeah.
I don't even think I was
it's
saying
not
that things
quite
are...
No,
that
I'm not saying you guys
everything's
are saying
behind
that.
a
Okay.
paywall.
But like
It's-
the Sinistea was in raids, and this is in eggs, and this is in raids, like, and these are all ways for Niantic to make money. That's true. That statement is true. They are ways for Niantic to make money, but this game is so much built on just like your patience, right? Like when Sinistea debuted, you could do 7 completely for free. That's more than enough to get to evolve it. That was
Yeah.
more than enough to. But also, like I don't know. So I'm sure somebody out there did like 50 Sinesteas because they were looking for like the antique, or they were looking for like 100%. They were looking for something. I'm sure that person exists. Thank you for paying that money to support this free game. I guess I don't know, but like, maybe
it's
I
just-
did not. I did not spend the $70 in Pokemon Sleep. I did not give them $70. I didn't give them any money this week. But also, like, I try not to give Niantic money. Like, I'm not gonna pay. I have done like maybe in the last 3 years when the remote raid pass change. 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Has it been that long?
yeah.
I have never remoted into a 1-star. I've never remoted into a 3-star. I've never remoted into a 4 mega. I've only remoted into a 5-star and maybe less than 20 times in 3 years.
Really?
Like, I don't want to give them $2. But even before that, I wasn't remoting in that much either. Like I almost
sure send a
remoted
lot.
in because I felt guilty. Like, they need my help.
Really? You sure send
Yeah,
a lot
no,
because I typically remote into your raids. When you send
No,
me an
I'll
invite.
send them. I'll always send remote raids, but like I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your money. If you want to get into this raid and you want to pay the $2, I don't think you should. But also, you're an adult. Whatever. Like I'm not your mother. I don't think you should spend $2 for Sinistea, but here you are. But I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm never. I'm not even going to give them $1 for Sinistea. I will give them my free raid pass. But I don't know. I try not to give them money.
Yeah, I don't try as hard not to get the money.
You're the one keeping them in business.
But it's more focused now than it's ever been.
Yes.
Like, right? It's like, oh, I want this Pokemon. I'm gonna raid Regieleki a bunch of times to try to get a shiny one. But
Yeah.
now I didn't raid for the last 2 months after that. Like, because it was like, oh, that was like I knew I wasn't gonna raid for 2 months. I'm having fun doing this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm not gonna raid for 2 months, and that's fine. But yeah, I think it goes back to the point of it's okay that Rookity is in eggs. It's okay that Sinistea was in raids. I just think it would be cool if make Sinistea ultra rare in the wild, but just make it in the wild in some way. So like I might be able to one might be able to pop up at some point when I'm taking a walk. Like again,
I think it's
not
exciting to have new Pokemon in the wild.
Yeah,
I think that just seeing them is exciting. I think that seeing the Fido on the map was exciting. I think that it is exciting to have the spawns around you change and be new, and be the new Pokemon. I think even if you have it, even if there are a lot of them, even if you are a one and done and you're not actually tapping on them, it's fun to see the new Pokemon on the map.
I still get excited. Like this isn't a new Pokemon, but like honestly, like if a Dragonite pops up, I don't need Dragonite. I got thousands of Dratini candy. I have like 5 100% Dragonites. I still get excited when I see the Dragonite pop up on that, like in the wild. I'm like, oh, it's a Dragonite. That's cool. Like it's not something that is gonna make me like, I'm not quitting the game or anything because these aren't in the wild. It's just a kind of a fun thing to see these Pokemon pop up that you just don't see every so often. And again, make it common in eggs. That's fine, but then make it like rare in the wild. Like all I'm saying is like it's not that I need to be able to go catch a bunch of them. It's just like it is fun to see these new Pokemon or Pokemon you haven't seen in a while like pop up in the wild. That's all. Like, and it's getting further and further from that. That's all.
Big thank you to the hundreds of people who sent me Dedenne, costume Dedenne raid invites. I didn't do a single one because I ain't giving Niantic $2 for Dedenne.
Niantic took Dedenne's costume off in the loading screen after the holiday event.
What?
Open your app and turn the app on and look at the loading screen. Dedenne is no longer wearing the
Oh, you're
costume.
right. You're right. He doesn't have the costume anymore.
Niantic didn't even want that costume.
Why?
Dedenne. I don't know. It's still very holiday themed. Like the whole background.
The entire loading screen. I don't think they've ever done that before.
I don't understand.
There was like a
Costume.
background where like Hoopa appeared in the loading screen for like a week, and then they removed it. It was like the week they announced Hoopa or something. They've slightly changed the loading screen before.
Yeah, come on. Poor Dedenne. It's cold now.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going to go with anything.
Rookity is going to be in the game now. That's
Rookity.
Yes.
and it's not as bad as it could be.
No, and I'm sure it'll be in the wild sooner than later, especially compared to
Are they hoping that Okay, good. Sorry.
We could do a whole other argument about how eggs have been terrible, and like putting a Pokemon that somebody wants makes eggs like slightly better, especially in an obtainable one like 2K. I don't think I've ever hatched a 2K where I was like, oh my gosh, wow, fantastic.
Larvesta is in 2Ks.
What's in 2Ks?
Larvesta.
Oh, Larvesta.
Might be one that you're like, oh, that's cool. I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I don't know. No, I honestly think Rookity will be in the wild sooner rather than later. Like, how long did it take for Absol to get in the wild? Like 4 years? I don't think it's gonna be 4 years of Rookity and eggs. I really don't.
No, I agree. But it is interesting that it is such a good GBL Pokemon, and yet the only way you can get it is where the stats are 10 10 10 at the lowest, so you can't like
that's
maximize how good it can be for GBL.
You
unless
can.
you
You
trade.
you need to trade with somebody you are not close friends with.
Yeah, so like if you trade it and it, then the stats switch. But other than that, like you can't. It's like this is like one of the best GBL Pokemon they've introduced in a while, and you can't maximize its stats with just catching it on its own.
You do get a lot more candy from eggs, so you do get it to Corporate Night technically faster if you're hatching. I'm trying to look at the positives here. Speaking of positives, I don't have a horse in the Rookity race. I didn't have a horse in the Fido race either. Although, again, I thought that event was very good. I barely
Yeah,
played
exactly.
it, but I was like,
that event was good. Everybody
Yeah,
agrees
yeah.
that event was good.
it was good. It was good. Here is a good thing Niantic has done. Here you go. We've made it this far into the episode. Thank you for listening. They've announced GoFest dates, the earliest they have ever announced them. Mm-hmm. A very good thing. Osaka, Japan, May 29th to June 1st. Budget, New York City, June 6th to June 8th. And then Paris, France, June 13th to June 15th. Those are your 3 GoFest locations. Mm-hmm. There is nothing wrong that I said there. So another good thing to take away from this is they're much earlier in the year. I played at an Osaka Go Fest. It was 115 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep.
It was brutal. It was also in August. It was a week before the World Championship. It was, I'm assuming it's going to be at the same park. Osaka doesn't have a lot of places that they would realistically play. It's probably going to be at the 70s Expo park. That's where it was before. It's fenced. They can monitor it. There's also, I think, there will be a World Expo there that year as well, somewhere around the same time. It just makes sense for it to be in that park. We don't know any of the locations for this. For Jersey City, it should be in Liberty. Is it Liberty State Park? I don't remember what it's called. Liberty City Park. Sounds like a Grand Theft Auto game. It should be in the park that takes you to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Which that park also has a museum. But again, they're earlier in the year to ideally avoid
All the weather.
intense heat. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys have any thoughts on these Go Fests?
I still think you keep referencing Jersey City as New York City, or just like New York City, and I think I just can't get over that. I think it's hilarious that you keep saying that.
It's right there.
It's literally right
truly
there. I know,
right
but-
across the bridge. Liberty State Park, you could probably walk to it across the bridge and just get there from New York.
Yeah.
Here's what I also think. If you booked the same hotel you booked for last year, it would probably take you equal time.
Yes. I think that's probably true. To get to Randall's Island and to get to Liberty
Randall's
Park.
Island versus Liberty.
And I'm glad it's not at Randall's Island again. I mean, I haven't
think
actually
everyone
looked at pictures of Liberty Park. Liberty State Park yet is what it is.
Oh, it is State Park. Okay.
Yeah. It looks more put together than Randall's Island does.
Here's why I make the New York joke. Because there is I could be wrong. I would hate to be wrong. Sometimes I don't mind being wrong. I would hate to be wrong on this. If Niantic brings however many trainers, 20,000, 50,000 trainers out to Jersey City, and they said, hey, look across the river there. That's the biggest city in the entire country. You can't play there. That would be crazy.
I see. Yeah.
That would be insane for them to be like, your play area is in this park or Jersey City, and you cannot go to Manhattan to play. Like that's why I sincerely think it's technically a New York Go Fest. There is no way they're going to be like, you can't play in Manhattan. That would be crazy.
Yeah, unless there's some city situation where they don't want them having it for some reason, but I don't think that would happen. Just because with even Go Tour being Los Angeles, but the play area when you're not at the Rose Bowl is all the way through Orange County.
Yes.
Which, if you're not from this part of the country, they're not the same. Orange County and Los Angeles are so vastly different in they're next to each other, but
not
it's
even in
two
LA,
completely
it's in
different
Pasadena.
counties. Yeah, it's two completely different counties.
Yeah.
And Orange County really does span quite far south. So I'm interested in if Go Tour really does have that distance where it's all of Orange County, but it does say that when you buy the ticket that it's like that. So I imagine if that's true, it'd be wild if Go Fest wasn't also your area is in
Yeah.
New York City.
This is technically a New York Go Fest in every way that matters is likely what's going to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is still part of their contract with New York, because ultimately people are going to be spending most of their time in New York, just going across the river, going across the bridge to get to the park for their playtime in the park.
I would guess that they signed a 3-year deal with Randall's Island, and because I'm pretty confident on this. I don't have any sources on an audio podcast to prove this, but the first year they got there, it was under construction, and I'm sure the city of New York was like, "Don't worry." Well, I'm sure before that, the city of New York was like, "We'll have it done before your event," and it wasn't. And you have however many trainers walking under unfinished bridges and cranes. I'm not exaggerating. That's what the Go Fest was, to then separate what was ultimately a very depressed baseball field on the north side and a giant parking lot on the south side. That was ultimately Randall's Island, and there was a little bit of grass in between. And I'm sure not only Niantic, but the Pokemon company was like, we don't want this for next year.
What was that?
This.
Yeah.
Like I thought this was supposed to be done. Just like in the in the Las Vegas park for Hoenn Tour. That park was under construction too, and I'm sure if Niantic thought like, "Oh yeah, let's go to the park under construction," they probably would have said no. But they were building a river that was not a river; it was just a giant hole in the ground that ran the entire park with no water in it. And then there was a giant rock mountain, which was what they dug up, that they had to put a security guard on the top of it because people kept climbing the rock mountain, and they were like, "We can't have this." So I'm sure then the second year they went back, spoiler, there was still a bridge unfinished and cranes everywhere, and it wasn't done. And I'm sure part of this was like, you promised this was going to be done, or this was supposed to be cleaned up, and it's not. And we signed a 3-year agreement. You didn't uphold your part of the agreement. So we're going to move to a park on the other side of the river, which is just equally as close. But we're close as in, like, if your hotel is in Manhattan, you're going south instead of north. And we're still going to allow the play area in New York. But this park is unacceptable for our players. And really, I think, I've went to Madrid Go Fest, I've been to the Berlin Go Fest, I've been to Osaka Go Fest, I've been to Sendai Go Fest, I've been to Chicago Go Fest. Randall's Island is the worst park I've ever played at. Like, to call it a park is exaggerating. It is grass, a parking lot, and a dead baseball field. That's what it was. That baseball field was just nothing.
There were a bunch of different baseball fields. A lot of them were small. Yeah. They are park baseball fields, but it's not a great park. There also aren't, I'm not seeing a lot of pictures of Liberty State Park, where the ones I am seeing are also, there's not a lot of shade there, but when I'm looking at it on Google Maps, it looks like there are some trees as you get into the park. There just aren't pictures of that because people take pictures of where you can see the city. So we'll see how much shade there is. Hopefully there's more.
Whew, hopefully. Really exciting they announced it early. I have no clue I feel like no one can figure out where it is in Paris. There's like 3 possible parks, but like...
No. We're not getting into this again.
Osaka and Jersey City seem to be very like, it kind of has to be here.
Yeah.
But I don't know what park it would be in Paris. But they're also not overlapping. They're 1 week from each other. Shout out to those brave souls that plan to go to all 3. That ain't me. I ain't doing that again. But I'm sure somebody will try to go to all 3. Bless your soul. I can't.
When was the last time they were all on separate weekends?
I think last year they were all separate weekends, but they were 2 weeks apart. not 1 week apart. So each one was
Got
that.
it.
And then the year before, that was when the Japanese one and the Europe one were the
We're on the
same
same weekend. Yep.
Right.
which Niantic's response to that was those were the only weekends they had available for said
Yeah.
parks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Seems fine. We'll. I guess we'll see. I have nothing bad to say. They announced the dates early.
Yeah.
They moved up the time frame, so it's not the middle of August. I think both of those decisions were good decisions. They said, "Oh, sorry, more ticket details will be in March, so you don't have to worry about any of that right now." Who knows if they'll even say something in regards to GoFest for like Pokemon Day. Who knows?
Right. I do wonder if, so I'm assuming that'll move up the global one as well. And so we'll have some kind of GoFest global event, possibly like in June, right? Instead of when it would usually be.
I almost would say like they'll probably just put global on the anniversary at that point, right? Just like the
Oh.
beginning of July.
That's nice. That
Oh,
would be
that'd
fun.
pretty cool.
Because
Yeah.
Paris
That'd
is
be fun.
June 15th, so that would just be 2 weeks later.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Was it July 3rd?
6th.
6th?
Sixth.
6th.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3rd is like the Australian day.
Wait, what?
Because Australia got the game a couple days early.
Oh,
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was
yeah.
that much earlier.
No, it was like 3 days earlier, I think.
It was the 5th, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was the 3rd.
I feel like the earliest like start date someone has on their phone would be July 5th, but maybe I'm
Post in the YouTube comments when your start date was for Pokemon Go.
wrong. Post that along with the like something you like about Pokemon Go. A little positive comment section going.
Also, please post your blood type as well, and maybe your social security. It would just your mother's maiden name as well.
I wonder. I guess it doesn't make much of a difference, but it's really like, so you always have the Go Fest, and then you have the Ultra Unlock events that kind of come out after Go Fest, and then it kind of leads into, like, I feel like there's been a pattern of like how they lead into the next thing, and I just wonder by pushing it back if that's gonna change up. I'm assuming that'll change up the patterns of like how the events kind of fall after GoFest, since
yeah.
it's being pushed further up into the year.
Get the hype going earlier in the summer so that people are into Pokemon Go earlier in the summer and play more of the
Yeah.
summer is probably part of it.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if moving this up was not a big deal because they have so many more live events planned for this year. I mean, we already have like 4 Safari Zones in March. That's crazy. On top of 2 Unova Tours. This is the first time we've had 2, so I really do think they are going to accelerate live events. Last thing, Pokemon Go. The Fido event and some other events have been there. Long story short, there have been a lot of double XP events. And I think there will be continued double XP events for the entire year. I do not think they're raising the level cap this year, although I wouldn't be upset if they did. I still believe that next year, for the 10th anniversary, they're going to go from 50 to 60. And I feel like this year is going to be a lot of double XP and more like mighty Pokemon to then, when that lifts, people don't feel like they're behind. There's been a lot of double XP recently.
I'd be okay with that. I'm getting close to 49 here, so I need that XP.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's take a break, and then we have a year of Eevee, so we will be right back. Year of double XP. And we are back from our break. Year of Eevee. 2025 is Year of Eevee, according to Pokemon.com. All right.
Trusted source.
Yeah.
The trusted source. All right. What new Eevee do you think they're announcing in ZA and what new type?
No.
Do you think Sylveon is going to be able to Mega Evolve? the thing I want to point out is all the branding and the like graphics say Year of Eevee, Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yep.
is the Pokemon Center's Year of Eevee.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the year of making money.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to say it. I've never been afraid to say it. Eevee fans are more unbearable than Charizard fans. I'm not afraid to say it.
I don't know how to respond to this as
Yeah,
someone who
don't-
just finished collecting all the Sitting Cutie evolutions.
Do you also like Charizard too?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm just an unbearable person. Mewtwo as well.
Wait, how do you feel about Gengar?
It's an okay ghost.
Okay, all right.
I don't think any of them are unbearable. I think that's just your own take, Steve.
Nah, Eevee fans are worse than Charizard fans.
I
They
see.
think every generation they're getting a new Eevee. They get so much merch, they get so much fanfare, and they're always like, we need more Eevees. Charizard fans are like content. They're like,
Okay, hold on.
Charizard tight, and then they move on with life.
That's
I've-
because Charizard gets everything.
No, Eevee gets way more than Charizard.
Does Eevee have a Gigantamax? Does Eevee have
Yeah,
a
it does.
Well,
It does have a
Eevee itself. Sorry. Do the Eeveelutions have? I was thinking of the evolutions.
Checkmate, Hannah. It does.
I think I will say, like, it's. I feel like it's certain,
I've laughed a lot this episode. It's been really good.
I feel like it's certain Eevee fans, because, like, I don't know, like, I don't see a whole lot of Leafeon fans that are like a certain way, but then you got the Umbreon fans. It's like a different fandom, you know, like it's just different.
That's
I feel
true.
like there's less hype for a new Eeveelution at this point because people have been disappointed enough that they just have no hope anymore. But
Well, I'm really hoping ZA introduces a new Mega Charizard. I really think we need a third one. Honestly. Yeah, no, I don't think, like, all jokes aside, I don't think this is leading to a new Eevee.
No, I think this is literally just a Pokemon Center like marketing campaign.
Yep.
Because they're starting the year off with Prismatic Evolutions. So their TCG set that they're selling at the Pokemon Center is Eevee focused.
yep.
And then just
And they have so much other Eevee merch.
yeah.
Yeah.
No new Eevees. No new evolutions, I mean.
I even, like, let's say in a reality they want to do a new Eevee. I think it would be really hard to use the existing typings.
What do you mean?
I feel like it would be big shoes to fill after like Sylveon to be like, we're bringing another Eevee.
Yeah. Well,
I
especially
mean,
just because of the buildup that the community has created out
Yeah.
of another Eevee, right? The further you get away from that, like, the more it builds, and then I feel like no matter what they do, it's not going to live up to the hype that the community has created out of what could be a new
Yeah.
evolution.
Yeah.
I think Sylveon worked so well because it was a new type.
There's
Oh,
so much
right.
fan art
Yeah.
out there for every other evolution potential type that it's hard to make I don't know. Would it be hard to make a new evolution that doesn't look like some of that fan art? I don't know.
New type coming
Like,
in
New type
2025.
is probably the only way to do it, but
Yeah. I think of, like, if they just did like a dragon type, people would be like, why dragon? Why not steel? Why not bug? Why not flying? Like,
Right,
you have
exactly.
you have that argument, you have like the name argument. Like, people didn't like Sylveon initially as a name when it came out. So you have, like, which type would they pick? What would the name be? What would the design be? Why? Just the reason why this exists and the other Eevees, bug, flying, whatever, don't exist.
How many
Like,
types are left? Like 11 that haven't been given an evolution? Because there's 18 types total, and there's 8 evolutions. So, and if you wanted to include normal in that, like, because for the evolution, so there's 10. 1 a month. Through 2025, we get 1 new evolution.
Yeah, we're not getting one. ZA is going to bring us the rest of them.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It says, while it's difficult to predict exactly what 2025 in stores, there's one guarantee: an abundance of Eevee. The Pokemon Center will be celebrating Eevee and each of its adorable evolutions all year long. There's plenty of exciting product to look forward to. This is the official press release. Like, when they said Year of Eevee, it is Pokemon Center related. There was nothing more to it than what people saw probably on like a Twitter post. Yep. There will be new items, including detailed figures showcasing the unique attitudes of each Eevee evolution, and adventure partner keychains so you can bring your Eevee of your favorite Eevee evolution where you go. I can already tell you that right now. These already exist. They were a big deal in Japan, and they were part of the point system for the mythical Pokemon. They're just going to bring those to the U.S. So like we already know what those look like. They sold incredibly well in Japan.
Oh, of course.
Plus, there will be new pearlescent pop figures by Funko, Pokemon kitchen designs featuring Eevee, and a cozy Eevee plush. The excitement starts now with Pokédoll plushes, including Eevee and almost all of its evolutions returning to the store. I don't know what they
missed.
Umbreon sold out or something.
Well, almost all of them are sold out at this point. The only one left in stock is Jolteon.
Poor Jolteon. I feel like I want to buy
now we know
Jolteon.
the least favorite. And if you can't wait to begin the celebration, you can check out some fan favorite Eevee products already available. This includes Eevee, Eeveelution plushes, pins, figures, and more. There's something for every Eevee fan. Find yours today at Pokemon Center.
There's no Flareon.
Oh, there isn't, is there?
They did say almost, and I was like, which one are they missing? They're missing. They don't have a Flareon Pokédoll. Why?
They were like, we knew this one was going to sell, so we just skipped it.
Yeah, you're talking about Jolteon being least favorite.
There's just no Flareon. Why? Huh. That's so sad.
That's really weird.
Maybe maybe it got held up at the factory. Maybe like something went wrong like red color.
Maybe.
That's possible.
Also, I just want to say, like, they say some new items include detailed figures which showcase the unique attitudes of each Eevee evolution. And then the example they show is this Jolteon, but it's just like hanging out in the grass. I feel like that doesn't showcase its unique, like, electric attitude. Just hanging out in the grass. It's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. It's like, it's smiling.
It's happy to be there.
It's cool. I think those figures are gonna, to your point, I think those are gonna sell really well. Also, I mean, all this stuff's gonna sell out. It's evolution stuff, except maybe that Jolteon Pokédoll plush.
Maybe not Flareon.
Yeah, and Flareon's gonna show up at one point in the future.
Okay, we got 2 TCG things. This one is, I guess, related to what we just talked about. When we eventually get Mega Eevee later this year. Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia. Symphonia? How do you say that?
Probably Symphonia. Symphony.
Symphony, yeah. Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia sets trademarked for the Pokemon TCG. This is off PokeBeach. They say they usually discover trademarks about 6 to 8 months before a set release, so we could see these as early as July, I guess, in Japan. However, trademarks are sometimes revealed out of order, pushing their release dates. These sets seem to be referring to Mega Evolution, thus Legends ZA. TCG sets usually advertise a new game within the first 2 months of release. The last time we saw Mega Evolution was 2026 during the X and Y era.
2016.
2016.
Oh, sorry. I'm already thinking of next year. I'm thinking of the 10-year anniversary of Pokemon Go. 2016, during the X and Y era. Spare, there were 2 guest appearances during the Sun and Moon era. I didn't actually know that of Mega Evolution.
Same.
And The current Japanese schedule, according to PokeBeach, is January 24th will be Battle Partners. February 21st will have 2 decks named Starter Set Stevens Beldum and Metagross EX, and Starter Set Marnie's Marpeco and Grimmsnarl EX. March 14th will be Heat Wave Arena, featuring Cynthia's Garchomp EX. April 18th, The Glory of Team Rocket, featuring Rocket's Mewtwo EX. May, there was no May sets in 2023, 2024, and 2025. And then that means ZA is coming out that month. No, I'm just kidding. And then June 6th is supposed to be Black Bolt and White Flare, featuring all 156 Unova Pokemon. And now we know that these trademarked. I don't think it's anyone's surprise that Mega Evolution would, like, there would be Mega Evolution coming to the TCG because it's coming to ZA, right? Like,
that was featured in the ZA trailer.
Yeah. Like, so it coming to the TCG should also not be a surprise.
Right.
I will say, for those maybe not familiar with the TCG, I don't think the Brave and Symphonia, I'm really sorry, I'm struggling with that word. I don't think they really mean anything. The TCG normally doesn't use the same verbiage as the games.
Right.
So, like, for example, it's not called Dynamax in the TCG. They'll say, like, VMAX. Or with like, they didn't say Paradox Pokemon. They just said future and past. And they didn't, for Urshifu stuff, they use, like, single strike and, like, they have their own wording for their mechanics. So I don't think that means we're getting, like, Mega Braverary and Mega Meloetta. Like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that it's just, I think these will potentially be the names of a set, right? I mean, in the past, the trademark has just been the name of a set. Like Stellar Miracle was a name of a set that came out in Japan, and then that ended up being Stellar Crown in the international sets. But it's just names of the sets.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, maybe don't look too deep into, like, the word Mega Brave.
Yeah.
Speaking of sets coming out, the next expansion after Prismatic Evolution, which also has its own issues right now, is going to be Journey Together, which, what is that, Battle Partners? Which we talked about last week.
Yeah, it's Battle Partners.
So there's a couple exciting announcements here. This is going to be the first set available in Latin American Spanish for the first time ever. That's going to be Journey Together. It's coming out March 28th. And then every set after will also be in Latin American Spanish. Latin American Spanish came to Pokemon Go in May of 2024. And I don't think it's, like, any secret that the Pokemon Company has been trying to push really big in Latin America, in South America, in Korea, in Indonesia, in India. Like, they've been doing this for the last couple of years. So, because, like, Indonesian cards are relatively new. They say, quote, "Our Latin American fans have always been a very vibrant and important part of the passionate Pokemon community. We're delighted to be able to bring them the TCG in a language that resonates best with them," says Thomas, director of Latin America for the Pokemon Company International. "Incorporating Latin American Spanish into the TCG allows us to provide our Latin American fans with a new way to experience the brand further and explore the world of Pokemon. We cannot wait for our adventure to continue, and we really hope everyone enjoys Latin American Cramorant." I might have added some stuff to the last part of that, but that was the quote I read. Journey Together will have 4 Trainer Pokemon EX, 16 Pokemon EX, 11 Illustration Rare, 6 Special Illustration Rare, and 3 Hyper Rare Gold Etch cards. It will be in booster packs, Elite Trainer boxes, various collections. This is a normal set. This is not a special set like Prismatic Evolution, which will not have booster boxes. But like Prismatic Evolutions, you won't be able to buy either one. So
That's true.
That's the Bobby. Tell us about what's going on there.
Yeah, it's looking like late 2021 again with Pokemon cards. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's looking like late 2020, early 2021. That was like in it because the issue with that was that the printing factories were like also shut down because of COVID-19. So like they couldn't print, so there wasn't enough to go around. But this, once they did get up and running, it was still so popular that you couldn't find cards anywhere. And you also had people just like going in and buying up all the inventory and then, going on eBay or whatever and selling it for twice as much and all of that. Starting with Surging Sparks, which came out in November of last year, this is starting to happen again. So Surging Sparks is much harder to find than it had been in the past. If you go and look at like the secondary price of a booster box of Surging Sparks, it's like $230 or something, or and a booster box usually costs $160 retail. You can't get one secondary market of Surging Sparks for less than $200. That's going into now Prismatic Evolutions, which is looking like it's going to be more popular than Surging Sparks because of all those Eevee fans. And
Charizard fans in shambles.
And don't worry, Heatwave Arena, I'm sure, will involve a Charizard at some point or something. But yeah, I mean, I saw there was I saw one local card shop that actually is not going to sell Prismatic Evolutions in order to protect their employees.
Wow.
And that is just one local card shop. There's obviously many of them, but I don't know if that will end up like catching on, if any other shops will do that. There's already been another set that's really popular that is like getting a reprint is Pokemon 151, and that has already seen people scrambling through Costco to like grab the boxes that are on sale to then go grab them all and resell them online. It's just seeing things that were very reminiscent of a couple of years ago when it was very hard to find cards. And I think Surging Sparks had Pikachu, which is always really popular. Prismatic Evolutions has Eevee, which is always really popular. And then Journey Together is bringing back just the Trainer's Pokemon, which I think is in itself really popular. And then also following this wave of these two popular sets is going to make it very hard to come across. So, Prismatic Evolutions comes out this week. So this Friday is actually the release of Prismatic Evolutions. If you see it in your store, a big box store like Target or, Best Buy or, things like that, cool. But I do think that they're going to go quickly. So if you do want to get something like that, I don't know, try to be there early on when the store opens or something. I don't think it's going to be like line out the door waiting for it, but I do think that these sets are going to get scooped up pretty quickly. And same thing that we've always said, like, don't pay twice as much for these on the internet. These days, like, Pokemon does have the ability to print as much as they want.
They reprinted Vivid Voltage and
yeah,
brought the price way down because people were sitting on Vivid Voltage for a long time hoping that it would be like the ancient Mew of 2021.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you go to your store and it is sold out and then you go online and you're seeing it for twice as much, I know it's tough, but like try to have that patience of waiting, especially because Prismatic Evolutions is being sold in waves. So this Friday, they're going to release Elite Trainer boxes and like 3-pack blisters. And then in a month, they're going to release like booster bundles and other products for Prismatic Evolutions. So there's going to be like 3 different waves of product releases for this set. So if you don't get something right away, in January, just wait. Don't pay double the price or whatever online.
Yeah,
there
trust
will be more.
trust they'll print more.
They will.
Like they have their own factories now.
They will print more. So, but I know it can be super frustrating to go see the new set. You see it online. You see everybody posting about it. You see all the YouTube videos of people opening it, and then you go into your store to pick up, an ETB, and there's nothing there. And then you go online and you see people selling it for 2 to 3 times as much as it retails for. That's super frustrating. I totally get it. But just try to keep yourself from, buying that. And don't do that either. If you can, don't go in and buy all the ETBs in a Target and then go online and sell them for twice as much. Just don't do that.
I don't think anyone listening to our podcast is scalping cards.
I don't think they are either. But I know people it's a way to make money, right? Like, oh, this is super popular and I can make, a quick buck by doing this. But, there's a lot of kids and adults who go into these stores and really looking forward to these new sets. And then it's super disheartening when they're sold out and it's because one person bought up the entire inventory. And these stores have kind of relaxed the limits that they've put on these cards. And I don't know if they will if they're following the news in a way that would be oh, we should put limits back on these before they come out, or if they're going to see the initial surge and then be oh, we should put limits back on these, after the fact. So
probably most stores will not be up to date on the Pokemon TCG news.
Right. So
because
right now
it has died down over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, if you go into a Target, I'll see limits on sports cards. I'll see limits on Lorcana. And
Lorcana has had limits recently.
But the Pokemon card limits have kind of gone away, at least in the Targets and stores around me. So I could see them coming back though. I would guess within the next month we'll see no more than 3 product Pokemon TCG products per purchase, things like that. I don't know if they'll catch it on the initial wave.
I didn't know the Costco stuff was 151. I saw
they released 151 in these new collection boxes. I think called Blooming Waters collection boxes. This was in Canada, I believe. I don't know if they've released them in the US. But in Canada they released these reprinted 151 packs in this new collection. And Costco always has really good deals on when they do have Pokemon cards. It's usually a pretty good discount on the cards. And I was just seeing videos of people literally just jumping over each other to grab these up, throw them on the pallet, the dollies to roll them up to the register and check out. Because I don't think there's limits at Costco on product like that.
Well, you got to pay however much to get in.
Well, that's true. But it reminded me of the last time I saw a video like this was the Amsterdam.
Oh, the Van Gogh.
The Van Gogh
Museum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just reminded me of that immediately. I was like, oh,
people climbing over each other to get the Pokemon cards.
Yeah. So
when I was in Japan last, there was lines at the TCG Lounge and the Pokemon Center DX for 151. Long, so people would there was a separate line from everything else that was just you were waiting in line to buy one box because it was limit 1 per person of 151. So I know they had their reprinting earlier this year and it was still very in demand. Those lines were very long. I was like, what's everyone waiting in line for? And I was like, oh, it's just 151
for Kanto. Waiting in line for Kanto Pokemon.
I hear Kanto because it's still popular over there.
Yeah, really.
In that country they call Japan. Yeah, still doing.
I just realized right now as we're talking, all this evolution talk and all this Eevee stuff, that I'm wearing
That you're wearing an Eevee. No, I noticed.
I was not even paying attention to that when you were like Eevee fans. Whoops.
Somebody asked me if I like what my thoughts were on the one card shop that came out and said like, oh, we're not selling. I'm like indifferent. I got no horse in this race. But like, it's not surprising. And no card shop should be surprised that allocation for this set is less. It's the same as like Shiny Fates or Hidden Fates or Champion's Path. Like, allocation is just always less with the special sets. So like that news in itself shouldn't be super surprising. Like if a card shop is like surprised about that, they must be like new to the Pokemon game to be like, oh, we're not getting as many as we were before. I don't believe for a second, though, and I don't know the full story of the card shop you're referring to, Bobby. I don't know the name of it or where they're located. There's not a single card shop out there that is not going to not take product from the Pokemon Company. It might be true and they're like not going to sell it, but they're still going to take it. And they're probably going to open it for themselves because they still need to make money that way.
Yeah.
So I could see, and again, I'm not accusing anyone, I could see some card shops, expecting 100 boxes, but only getting 40. And they're like, well, we will make more money if we just rip and sell these ourselves versus selling to customers. And the reason I'm just saying that is I don't blame them for doing that because there is such a low profit margin on selling boxed Pokemon cards. I don't know if people know this, but a lot of reason why local game stores stay in business is not selling the newest Pokemon set. It is Friday Night Magic. That is how they stay in business. It is Magic the Gathering and Friday Night Magic. You almost have to have a Friday Night Magic to pay your bills. That's just the reality of local game stores. And it sucks. But like, I totally get why a store would come out and be like, "We're not selling any Prismatic Evolution." But they're being slightly sure they're not selling any, but they are getting it, and they will probably sell it to private parties for more money or keep them for themselves. But like, that's like the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and to throw a little bit more context into this store specifically, it sounds like I'm reading an article about it as well, and they actually had some break-ins that were that Pokemon cards were targeted, and so it's possible. It's like, okay, well, if the store's getting broken into with Pokemon cards, and this set is like not even out yet, then I'm assuming they're like, we don't want to be a target, to a bigger target if we're already getting break-ins and it's not even like hit its like total like the max popularity, so I could understand them being like to your point, they could sell singles, but it's just like knowing that there's no sealed product, there's no like boxes of this really popular set in there, then you got the people who might run up and be like, oh well, it's not worth it to break into this store, unfortunately.
I shouldn't be laughing.
No.
But are the people breaking in like checking their like Twitter and be like, they just tweeted they don't have any products, so we're not going to break in? Like,
there might be like a big sign on the front of the store. There might be a big sign on the front of the store that
I guess
keeps them from like, there's no, like when they're like,
but like
if
you're gonna like structure a card
break
in and you get to the door and you're like, the sign is gonna stop. Like, aren't you gonna like? There's other stuff to steal, right? Like,
I don't know how professional these like,
like
burglars are. It's not
level?
Like a bank robbery where they've done months and months of like casing the place. Like, I'm assuming a lot of it's just a quick smash and grab type situation.
Like, if you've been sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, break-in's not funny at all. This is
not
funny
like
at all.
But if you've been broken into multiple times, is it not because your store is just an easy target? Like 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 location, ease of access, like security,
multiple factors for sure.
Yeah. Like it's just, I'm not saying like it's because they have the best Pokemon cards on the block.
Yeah.
Like this place is hot.
It's possible that this is like the only store in the surrounding area that sells Pokemon cards
like,
as well, right?
I don't even
like
know where the store is.
Lines. And so, but another thing, so to cement your point about like people aren't opening card shops solely on Pokemon sales is when Scarlet and Violet, when that era of Pokemon cards came out, Pokemon raised the prices. If people remember that, like packs used to be like $4 retail, they became $4.50 retail. And that's why they added more reverse holos in the packs and things like that. But the distributors had to raise their prices to sell to these local shops. The local shops didn't raise their prices. So you know, in 2021, you'd buy a booster, or when the popularity kind of died down in like 2022, you'd buy a booster box of a Sword and Shield set for like $120, and they retail for $160. Mm-hmm. So if you buy it from the Pokemon Center, it's like it was like $140, and then you'd buy them from a local shop and it'd be like $120.
Yeah.
When Scarlet and Violet came out, those booster boxes went up to $160, but the local shops were still selling them for $120.
Yeah.
So they weren't selling for more, but they obviously had to get them from the distributors for more, because the retail, like Pokemon, is selling them for more. So it is interesting because it was like, well, how are these shops going to stay in business? Like, they're raising the prices and these shops are still selling them for the same amount of money. And it's because that's not where they're making their money. These shops are making their money in other places, whether it's singles, whether it's Friday Night Magic, it's other things, you know. And what you did see was a lot of online shops that were only selling sealed Pokemon product were ending up having to close because they couldn't keep up with the fact that those prices were raising. And then if they raised their prices, all the other competitors weren't raising their prices. And so they weren't able to sell the product in the same way that those competitors were. So, yeah. It's not how they make the money.
I like feel bad for local game stores, but at the same time, I've been burned by like my local game store multiple times. So it's like, I have no horse in this race.
Steve has no horses.
I have 0 horses this entire episode. When I was buying a lot of Pokemon cards, because I was like competing, I would just go with whatever the cheapest was. So, like, for me, it was like Cool Stuff Inc. was $99 for a booster box. I'm going to buy 2 of them. It's free shipping. They're going to arrive the day after. It was consistent. It was very rare during that time that you saw something less than $99. Sometimes you would see like $89, but it very rarely dropped below that price. So it's really hard as a Pokemon TCG fan to be like, do I want to spend $200 or do I want to spend $280, which is what 2 booster boxes from the Pokemon Center would be? Like, that's $80 more for the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
But like, another like feeling I have is I would never buy like single booster packs from a local game store, because they're weighing their packs. Like, they're a local game store. There's not a doubt in my mind that they're not opening a booster box, weighing packs, and putting the lighter packs in the shelves, and they're ripping open the heavier packs for themselves because they want the hits. Like, that doesn't, like, a Target employee is not doing that. Now, I understand that somebody could walk into a Target with a scale, because that has definitely happened, and they're weighing packs and they're putting the light ones back on the shelves. But like, I feel comfortable buying a booster box because it's a whole box that they're getting out of a pallet, and I'm saving $40. But I would never, like, again, Friday Night Magic sells a lot of stuff. You usually pay to do Friday Night Magic. You're usually there. You're buying singles. You're buying packs. Like, I understand how they're making money. You're buying snacks. I still would just like, I would never walk into a local game store and be like, let me get 2 packs of emerging powers. Like, I think they're weighed. And I don't blame a local game store for doing that. Like, that's the thing, is I don't blame them for doing that because their profit margins are so tiny on sealed product.
They kind of they did away with that in a way back in the Sword and Shield era because they switched up the code cards, so you couldn't really tell. But that went away in Scarlet and Violet. And I hate to even say this, don't go weigh packs, please. But you can weigh packs kind of in Scarlet and Violet. I don't know how, like, because now there's the 2 reverse hollows, but all the code cards are the same in the packs. So it's more likely weighing packs will actually work to someone's favor than it was in like the Sword and Shield era, where you really couldn't tell because they actually weighted those code cards differently to offset what was good and what wasn't. They did away with that in Scarlet and Violet. But it's not like back in the day, like the base set days, where you could very much like weigh a pack and really just know right off the bat what that pack had, if it had a holographic in it or not. But yeah.
Well, code cards weren't even added till Black and White.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
So you were all the way up to Heart Gold, Soul Silver with no extra weight in them. And I see TikToks all the time of people walking into a local game store and they're like, "Oh, you have Gym Heroes, $300 for a pack," and then they open it and it's nothing good. And it's like, every single one of those packs in a local game store prior to Gen 5, well, even Gen 5 stuff, is weighed. They know what they're selling.
If you're buying vintage Pokemon TCG stuff, like a seller, if they're a good seller, they will actually let you know whether the pack is heavy or not, and it will cost more money for a heavy pack than it will for a not heavy pack.
Yeah.
They will price them differently, and so don't walk into a store that just has the pack sitting there open, like Fossil or Jungle or whatever, and it just, here's a price. Like, if nothing else, ask, is this heavy? Is it light? Have you weighed it? Like, because if they say, no, we didn't weigh it, it's just is what it is, like, I don't know. I would say think twice before buying that. But if you walk into a store, most of them will nowadays, they'll say, this is a heavy pack. And because of that, it's going to cost more than like a light pack of Fossil or Jungle or Base, something like that. But another thing is, if you buy single packs from like a local shop, they usually will cost closer to retail, if not more, for a single pack. And I think that's sort of to make up on the fact that if you're buying booster boxes, they're cheaper. It's to try to like equal that out a little bit. So if you go in and buy like a single pack of Surging Sparks, it may be like $5. Surging Sparks is a bad example. If you go in and buy like, because that's so expensive right now.
Sold out.
But if you go in and buy like Scarlet Violet base, it might be like $5 for a pack, or you buy a booster box for $120. And so, if you don't want to buy 36 packs of cards, I get it. You just want to buy one, then go buy one. But you'll usually pay closer to retail, if not over, if you're buying individual packs versus like an entire booster box.
I think if you want to purchase Pokemon cards, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, I think the ETB is like the greatest thing that the Pokemon company has like invented. Like, what is it? Like $50? Get like 8 packs. You get your promo card. You get your dice. You get your coins. Hard to weigh.
$50 is still a lot of money for some people.
Yeah, but
relatively.
Booster bundles are also a nice thing that they introduced in the last couple of years.
Or those are like 4 packs, right?
Just 6 packs of cards for like $25.
I've liked those. Those have felt like a nice balance.
Yeah. So, and then you don't get any, if you don't want the dice and you don't want you just want some packs of cards. Like, booster bundle's a way to do it. But the Elite Trainer boxes are nice for the promo card, the dice, and if you want to play the game and you want some like accessories to play the game with, you get your dice and you get your damage or your damage counters and condition markers, things like that. So,
and when 99% of your cards are garbage, you put them right back in the box, and then you close the box up.
There you go.
It's nice. It's very convenient.
You just play TCG Pocket and they're all digital and you don't have to worry about the
That's
space.
true.
There
I
you
said this
go.
last week. I'm feeling less and less needing to buy cards because Pocket is scratching that itch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This will all change when Prismatic Evolutions comes out next week. Steve's going to be rushing to Target to get those boxes.
I think Journey Together looks way more exciting than Prismatic Evolutions.
I like that Journey Together doesn't seem as daunting as a set to open, because Prismatic Evolutions, it's like, here's 32 special illustration rares. It's like, we could only get one per pack. Like, please don't do that to us. Journey Together brings it back down a little bit. Like, I think I saw in that set you were talking about, it's only like 4 trainers Pokemon EX cards, right? So obviously these are coming out in waves over the next few sets with these trainers Pokemon. It's not like they're putting them all in one set and all of a sudden, you know, there's 26 trainers Pokemon in one set or anything like that. So it feels less daunting, but I'm an Eevee fan, so I'm excited for Prismatic Evolutions.
Yeah, looks cool. I think that's all we have for you guys today. A lot of things to cover for what a week it's been. We'll be back next week, and I think we're about 6 weeks out from Unova Tour. Bobby is still going. I'm going. Fashion Week is right now happening in Pokemon Go. The Legendary Birds start next week. Mewtwo's birthday is February 6th. Make sure to put that on your calendar.
Always do as a Mewtwo fan.
Says your resident Mewtwo fan. His birthday is coming up. Don't you dare forget it. We will. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Bobby. We will see you all next week. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super wondering why there's no Flareon plushie. Really? Why?
The forgotten evolution.
Mega Flareon is coming.